The news seems to be full of reports of things that cause us to worry, dangers, bad things that have happened, or that it is feared will happen. And we need to be aware, and it's right to be concerned and to act and pray. But where do we see hope? And how can we feed our minds and our hearts on what is good and what is promising out there? I like to get out into nature and look at what's growing and changing. I'd like to share some photos and some thoughts now that I had on a walk that I had a few weeks ago. I had the chance to go to Exmoor earlier this month. I'd definitely say it was still winter. It wasn't pouring or too windy though, and I went a walk down to Heddon's Mouth. The path takes you all the way down to the sea following the river. It was quite full, exciting and noisy. The trees were pretty bare, and there was quite a lot of dead wood and leaves that had got swept down the river. It wasn't all dead wood and dried grass though, even on a first glance. There were the evergreens, ivy draping over the trees, and brilliant mosses and lichens growing on the trunks and boughs. These plants survive and even thrive in winter, it seems. They look amazing to me, summer or winter, but maybe I take more notice of them when there's not so much other greenery around. And in among the grey, brown, lifeless-looking trees, there were signs of life, new life. Catkins. Catkins are actually flowers. I think it's extraordinary how you get blossom in winter, flowers before leaves. So, the trees aren't all dead. And then, in a sheltered, deep part of the valley, I came across this clump of snowdrops, sheltering under a fern. A real sign to me of new life, and a new season with all that there is to look forward to. Lots more spring flowers as the season unfolds. It felt encouraging. It felt good. I couldn't help thinking about that verse in the Bible that says that God's power and character can be seen through the things he has made. Maybe what I was seeing along the Heddon River Valley was that there is always something of God's goodness to be seen in everyday life, something that brings joy and hope. There's that poem by Gerard Manley Hopkins, which says, "The world is charged with the grandeur of God." It goes on to say that despite the tendencies of humans to spoil or even ruin what God has made, there lives the dearest freshness deep down things. I'm sure some people would think, well, that's okay for Hopkins to talk about nature being full of life and goodness, but people are different. But aren't we also part of what God's designed and made? And the good news we've been given is that God hasn't left the world to just get on with it by itself. As Hopkins puts it in that poem, the Holy Ghost over the bent world broods with warm breast and our bright wings. Many people are being inspired to work with nature against the odds to save it and help it to revitalise itself as it wills. There are people that do amazing things in these times of crisis to act for justice and the planet and people, and many who just simply show love for others. So I'm definitely going to keep getting out in nature And I want to look out for God's goodness in everyday life too. I'm sure to see God's character in people around me. And maybe I'll see something that gives me hope in the news if I look carefully. How about you? What do you notice that is good and gives you hope?